Hello, everyone, and welcome to USC's broadcast on financing your education at USC. My name is Noemi Garcia Tagorda, and I'm Senior Assistant Dean here in the Financial Aid Office, and I'm joined by some colleagues here today, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Jessica Medina, and I am a Senior Assistant Director here at the Financial Aid Office, so welcome.
My name's Lori Council, and I'm representing today the University Cashier's Office and Student Financial Services.
And my name is Gail Friedman. I'm a Student Services Advisor here at the Office of Financial Aid.
Okay, great. Since we already have a couple of questions, we'll start by answering them. So the first one that we have here is from Daler. Daler asks, hello, my university grant was used for tuition payment, but it didn't cover the whole tuition. However, my Pell Grant exceeds the remainder of the payment, and I want to use that to pay off the tuition before the classes begin. Is that possible?
I'll go ahead and take that one. It is possible. So your Pell Grant will expense to your ePay account, which is a centralized billing system for the university. If your Pell Grant exceeds the bill balance that is on your ePay account, then you are eligible to receive a refund. However, you do need to sign up eRefund, and I'll let Lori talk about that in just a few minutes. But again, yes, you can use that Pell Grant for any other non-educational or educational-related expenses.
So the easiest way to get your refund would be to enroll in something called eRefund, which is an option on the ePay homepage. It would designate a checking or savings account to receive the refund. So once you log into ePay, select eRefund, you're going to be required to put in an account number and a routing number of a checking or savings account. And once that's in, anytime there's a qualifying credit balance, the University Cashier's Office will just deposit it into that checking or savings account.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I have another question here that's related to paying the bill. In regards to the ePay statement activity, I was wondering what the end-topping student aid fund fee is in regards to.
It's a good question. The $8 Norman Topping Student Aid Fund fee funds a scholarship here at the university. There's an entire website dedicated to the Norman Topping Scholars, and it's a very worthy cause, and it was initiated and created by students maybe back in the 70s. So if you're, would like some background on it, you can Google that. But it is a very worthy fee, and it's only $8.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, we have another question in regards to Title IV funds. Okay, regarding the Title IV funds authorization, is the meal plan a non-institutional charge? And when will I get my refund to my checking account?
Do you want to answer the? I'll answer the first part, and then you want to answer the second part. Okay, perfect. So, is the meal plan a non-institutional charge? Well, if you are obtaining the meal plan through the university, that is a charge that will appear on your ePay account, which would be considered a fee that the university is billing you for directly. Now, in regards to getting a refund to your checking account, it's kind of what Lori just went over about the eRefund. But is there anything else?
Well, I do just want to sort of go back over that non-institutional charge. The Title IV aid legally is only supposed to pay tuition, mandatory fees, and laboratory fees. Anything other than that, we need your authorization for the Title IV aid to pay. So that includes housing, meals, health insurance, USC card charges, any of those other charges. So when you're completing the authorization, if you click yes, you want it to pay all qualifying charges, then it will not only pay the legal charges, but it will pay all those extra charges that are on your student account. And then the question about getting the refund, first day of refunds will be August 20th. So if all of the funds are in and you're enrolled in eRefund, that's the soonest it could happen, but it'll happen daily after August 20th.
Hey, thanks a lot. Okay, this next question is from Abraham, and it's regarding his student loans, and I was going to see if Gail might be able to answer this question for us. If we don't take any loans offered out of our financial aid package, will next year's financial aid package take that into consideration? I'm content with how much we have to pay and found loan alternatives?
Well, each year your financial aid award is independently calculated, so each year you'll have the eligibility to borrow the federal direct Stafford loans. We give you the eligibility, doesn't mean that you'll necessarily take it, but the eligibility will remain there all year long in case you need it.
Thank you, Gail. Okay, I have another question here from Alberto. Alberto wants to know, what is the minimum GPA if I want to maintain my university grant? Yesenia, do you want to answer that question for us?
A minimum of 2.9, I believe, in order for you to keep your university grant.
Right, so minimum of 2.0 in order to maintain it, and you have to maintain satisfactory academic progress. Okay, does anyone want to add anything to that?
I would also suggest, just as a tip to maintain your university grant, is a big thing with a lot of continuing students is that they forget to apply for financial aid on time. So you want to make sure that you apply for financial aid on time so that way you are considered for the full amount of funding that you would be eligible to receive. So I would say those three things: maintain your GPA above a 2.0, maintain satisfactory progress, which you can find some more information on our website about that as well if you'd like to inquire a little bit more about what exactly that's all about. And then most importantly, when you reapply for financial aid, that you reapply on time and that you don't miss any of our deadlines.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Looks like we have another question from Abraham. Abraham wants to know, when it comes to paying tuition on ePay, does it matter what credit debit card we put? My family was thinking of wiring the money to my account and allow me to pay, but I don't want to make it seem as if I'm paying out of pocket personally.
Well, that's kind of a two-part question, so I'll answer the first part. With making the payment on ePay, no. The university accepts Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, and you could alternate, and you could use multiple cards to make the entire payment, or split the payment on multiple cards, as long as it's done by the 22nd. That information is not going to be retained in the ePay system unless you opt to save it for future reference so that you don't have to enter the credit card in its entirety the next time you decide to use that card. Now, with regard to how it affects you in the future, Jessica.
Like Gail had mentioned earlier, we review the financial aid application every single year, so you will submit your updated information every year, and we'll calculate that family contribution based off of the updated information on your application forms. But I've never heard of us actually going back and seeing if a family paid out of pocket on ePay for their tuition. There are some special circumstances where, let's say you cashed out some investments and that's what you used for paying off your education. That's something that we can have a conversation about a little bit later, but I don't think it would necessarily affect your family contribution.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Now we have a question from Nora. Nora wants to know, what is the difference between the student health center fee and the student health insurance fee? Also, are there mandatory fees, or am I able to waive them if I have my own health insurance plan?
I can answer that one.
Okay, great, Gail.
Okay, so they are two separate fees. The health center fee is mandatory. It's so that you can use the health center on campus at any time during the year. The health insurance fee may be waived if you meet the health insurance requirements, and you would need to contact the health insurance office for more information on how to do that.
All right, thank you, Gail. Okay, looks like we have just one question left. All right, and this is from Jessica. All right, Jessica wants to know, if my scholarship money hasn't come in yet, can the tuition payment date be pushed back until my scholarship check comes in? Who would like to answer that?
I'll answer
that question.
Did you want to answer that, Yesenia?
Sure, I can.
Okay, great.
So then if the scholarship money is actually late, since we can put a notification in the file, once the check comes in, you can actually call us up or actually email us and we can actually waive those late fees. Again, it will just be a notification in your file that the check is coming in, and that will be taking care of it.
Okay, thanks a lot, Yesenia. Oh, Okay, so it looks like we don't really have any questions left, so we'll probably wrap it up in a few minutes if we don't have any additional questions. But before we leave, I was wondering if there were any points or any tips that you all would like to share with those who are watching when it comes to paying the bill, anything that maybe hasn't been covered yet.
I have a couple of things.
Great.
One is that even though August 22nd is the settlement deadline, this is probably more applicable to graduate students. If there are additional charges, you know, we have a lot of graduate students that are still refining their program, adding and dropping classes. So after the 22nd, if there are additional charges, if they've added classes, dropped classes, and there are still billing charges on the student account, those are due every Friday, or those charges are subject to late fees, to our $100 per week late fees that we assess for 3 consecutive weeks. So it's important that if they're still adding, dropping classes, that they check their student account, see if there's a new balance, and then resolve that by Friday so that new balance doesn't incur late fees until September 12th, until the add drop deadline.
Okay. So it looks like we got a couple other questions, and I'm going to, if we can answer them now. The first question is from Nora. Nora would like to know, is the Student Health Center fee a mandatory fee regardless if I'm a commuter student? Would like to answer that question.
Yes, it is a mandatory fee. So you are, as Gail mentioned earlier, for the health insurance, you are able to waive the health insurance if you have comparable coverage to what's offered by the health insurance here at USC. Now, in regards to the Student Health Center fee, that is one of the 4 mandatory fees that every single student that is enrolled at the university will have to pay. So again, the health insurance fee, you can waive that by visiting the Student Health Insurance website and submitting the online waiver. And I suggest you do that fairly soon, because it does take the office some time to go ahead and process that request. And then in regards to the Student Health Center fee, again, that is a mandatory fee. You cannot waive that fee, and that's basically to utilize the health center on campus. So if you get sick with a cold, or you just need to go in and see a doctor, that's the center that you would be able to access on campus for all the students.
Okay, thanks, Jessica. All right, we have another question from Robert. He has a question about the bill. Does the bill due on the 22nd have to be paid out of pocket? I'm going to see if you guys want to answer. That's kind of an interesting question.
Want to talk about the aid, if there's aid?
Sure. Do any of my colleagues want to talk about that? Maybe Gail or...
Well, I was just going to say, if the student has any financial aid, his university grant would have already credited, but all federal aid will credit by the 15th, and then with the remaining balance, you have choices as to how you can pay that remaining amount, whether it be upfront payment plan, parent plus loan, out, from savings. You have several choices. It depends on your family situation and your family choices. Anything further?
I would add to that and say, if you're having some difficulty figuring out exactly how much is going to be left on the ePay account to finance prior to August 22nd, we have a great tool on our FAST page that it's a worksheet that would allow you to list out your ePay charges, your financial aid in the form of grants and in loans, and then just do a simple subtraction from the bill balance and the amount of financial aid that will expense to your account. And then that difference is the amount that you can start figuring out how you're going to finance that. So as Gail mentioned, you can pay a portion out of pocket, a portion in a 5-month payment plan that would be set up on your ePay account, which is essentially a line of credit that the university offers a family, where they would be able to split up any amount that they wish into 5 monthly installments, and then the remainder can be paid just out of pocket. So we have a variety of families that will not just pay the balance out of pocket. They might set it up on a payment plan or do a loan, as was discussed a little bit earlier. So you're not stuck to one option, is what I'm trying to tell you. You can use a variety of the financing options that are available to settle your bill prior to August 22nd. And I suggest that you go onto your FAST account and utilize that worksheet, or I believe it's also a PDF version of it is also available on the form section of our website.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys. All right, so we have another question from Abraham, and Abraham wants to know, my limited knowledge on tuition payment has led me to believe there are two options to pay, all up front by August 22nd or the 5-day, I think he means the 5-payment plan. Are these the only payment options? I just want to have all my options on the table.
As far as making payment, yes, those are the only payment options. So if you were to pay all up front, understand that even that can be broken into multiple payments. You could go on to ePay and pay, you know, let's say $5,000 of a $15,000 balance on a credit card, and then you could go back to ePay and pay a portion of it with a deduction from a checking or savings account. So it isn't that you have to go on to ePay and make one lump sum payment of, you know, $25,000. You can break it up as long as it's done by the 22nd. And then the other option is the monthly installment, which you can also use in conjunction with making an upfront payment. So it isn't, as Jessica said, one or the other. You can do multiple options.
Great, thank you, Lori. So let's see, now we have a question from Sarah. And Sarah would like to know when will my ePay bill show my financial aid, grants, loan, etc. I have not just yet registered for all my classes, so I'm assuming that's why it's not showing. Yesenia, would you mind answering this question?
Sure. All your federal aid, which will include your Pell Grant, Cal Grant, SEOG, is going to actually end up crediting to your account on the 15th, which is 10 days before the actual class start date.
Okay, and just to add one more point there, that yes, you do need to register for your classes in order for that aid to credit as well. If you have not registered, then of course there's really no bill, and there won't be any aid showing there either. Does anyone want to add anything to that? No? Okay, so let's get this last question from Nora. Nora wants to know, also, according to my federal loans, Pell Grant and Cal Grant, I was told that they are dispersed once we start classes, so what I have to pay out of pocket in the meantime. Who would like to answer that question?
Gail, do you want to take that one?
Well, I would just say that your federal aid should disperse on the 15th, 10 days ahead of your classes, so that as long as they cover your balance due, there would be nothing else you'd have to pay out of pocket. If you still have a remaining balance, then you'll have to choose one of the selections we've discussed already, the 5-payment plan option, Parent Plus loan, paying up front for the remaining balance. Anything further?
Okay, that's great, Gail. Thank you. All right, Yesenia, this next question really is for you. This is from Alberto. Alberto has a question about some corrections. I just made a FAFSA correction because they sent me an email to make a correction. Now my parents need to provide their signatures. But I will, this question is not complete, but I think he's just looking for instructions on what to do and when he can expect his aid to credit because, oh wait, here we go. He just sent an updated one. But I will be able to send them until August 16th since I am out of the country. Do you have any advice for the student, Yesenia?
Unfortunately, we cannot do anything in regards to making any additional corrections to the FAFSA until that signature is on file. If you can actually get that information by having your parents create a PIN number online through the FAFSA, it will get credited automatically, and I can actually end up making corrections within 3 to 4 days after that. Okay. But if you can't, maybe fax it over, and they'll accept something faxed over through the FAFSA website.
Great, thank you, Yesenia. We have a question here from Nora. And Nora has a question about special circumstances, and I'll go ahead and answer that question. In addition, if my family has had unexpected financial circumstances, can I still appeal my aid? Yes, you can still appeal your aid. You can pretty much appeal your aid at any point during the academic year. And what you would need to do is submit a letter to us and upload it, preferably through our required information and forms page. And just tell us about your circumstance and provide any documentation to support your situation so we can act upon it. We really do want to know if you've had an unexpected change in financial situation so we can provide you with the appropriate aid. But again, what we will need from you is a short description of your situation and documentation to support that. So thanks for your question, Nora. It's a really good one. All right, we have a question from from Kevin Andrew. Kevin wants to know, so for work study, we will get the amount given at once or throughout the semester as they do in a normal job? Gail, would you mind answering this question?
Sure, sure. So work study gives you the opportunity to be able to earn money throughout the semester for you to use for private, personal purposes, so that you would earn, your employer should pay you every other week, so you'll have pocket money throughout the semester.
Great, thank you, Gail. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any additional questions right now. I just wanted to, again, give you guys an opportunity to see if you have any extra tips that you want to share with our viewers in regards to paying the bill or obtaining financial aid. If not, then we are going to wrap it up. So I just want to thank everybody for viewing and for hanging out with us today to learn a little bit more about financing your education here at USC. We've enjoyed answering your questions, and we hope that you tell your friends and everyone else that might have a question about financial aid about the resources that we have here, not only through Hangouts, but through our website. You can always visit us in the Lion Center. Yes, starting Monday next week. That's where we will be. We will not be in our usual location of John Herbert Hall. So next week, please come visit us in the Lion Center. If you have questions, alternatively, you can call us, or we would really prefer that you contact us now if you do have a question so we can address your concern right away.
And I think Lori had one more thing to add.
Okay.
It was just a tip, since we sort of covered it throughout the session, to maybe on the 18th log into ePay and check your account after all of the federal aid has credited, so you have a better idea of what's going on, and then select your payment option. But Monday the 18th, you should have a very clear picture of your bill.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys. So we're just going to wrap it up now, and we hope you all have a good day, and we'll see you here on campus very soon. Take care.
Bye.